Hello, it's TehTaka here doing a video for Black Diamond Authority. Today I'm going to be going over this image I attempted to draw of BDAILLC. For me, it's pretty tough. Most of my images stop at the knees, so the calves, ankles, and feet are a bit of a struggle for me. So you'll see the trial and error of me trying to get the shapes correct. But let's go ahead and start this off. Start off with a couple scribbles, picking out the brush I want to use. Then I start with the head, just give me a base shape. And then we level out 7.5 head lengths for a full size adult woman. Next, I'm boxing out like I normally do the torso and the base with boxes, or as you can see, this elliptical here, so I can have a bit more of a 3D feeling, so I don't see things in exactly a flat plane. I'm using the dots to line out the arms and legs and knees, and you'll see later that I end up having to scratch all of this because I struggle with scale still, but it gets there. It's a process. So this first leg is not fantastic, but I end up knocking out, and I think that's the big thing. You can't be afraid to go back and rework on things, especially if you're learning. It's not gonna be a one-time thing. So I can continue to shape out the arms and the shoulders just off the base. Setting forms for the chest. I mean, in this, a lot of people do a lot sketchier, like a lot rougher sketches. A lot of my sketches end up being a lot more defined. It's a habit I'm working on trying to fix, but you can see the form starting to come in now. Minor adjustments coming in here and there. Let's see, let's stop it for a moment. Let's go back. This is what I struggle with a lot with the scale. You can see I'm literally dropping the neck down, making the shoulders less broad. The arms seem to be about the right shape, but you couldn't tell, you couldn't see the shift because her shoulders aren't exactly straight. So I was trying to make sure I brought out the shift there. Oh, the hands. I tackled this for quite some time, but I think I ended up liking the way it comes out. My big difficulty is making sure that, like here, it feels like I can't tell if it's the front of the hand or the back of the hand. So I want to make sure that's clear. So I tried drawing some lines for the indents on the fingers and give you an idea. Here I'm just shaping out the body. And this is where I go back on the legs. I retackle them pretty much from scratch because I didn't like them. I found a image that helped me shape the curves of the leg a bit more, and these were my first attempts. I go at these for a minute. And it's just kind of my style to make the legs thicker than they actually appear in the image. That's a me thing. So it's not an exact replica, but I'm trying to portray the image on the right in my own style. And the legs still need work. They're gonna end up needing to be shifted and turned and rotated. Look at it. But it's all part of the process, and I think it's starting to come along here. At this point, I go ahead and start tackling the hair. Slowly but surely. Messed up line. But at this point, I'm pretty happy with the image, and I start to tackle facial features, and I'm not trying to make in an exact replica of it, just something that looks presentable, pretty, in some way, shape, or form. Now we start adding the clothes. The clothes are the pretty simple part. Let's see. Just a couple lines here and there for the shoulders. You know, I'm just trying to get it, honestly, just exactly as you see it. You place the lines where you see it in the image. I wasn't going to do the entire design on the shorts, so I simplify it a bit. You'll see here. I started off doing it, and I was like, you know what? I don't like this. So I just went ahead and did my own thing. I ended up liking the design a lot. Here I'm working on the purse. Just try to put, I don't know, I was gonna say an elliptical, a rectangle here. Just place it right under the box. Perfect, easy peasy. And these legs, I'm still hitting them. I'm still not happy with them. Going back over the hands. Here, I couldn't decide if I was gonna do like a walkway for a background or not. So I attempted to like scale a hallway or a walkway of some sort, and I ended up not being a fan, so I ended up scrapping it in the end. However, now I'm doing line art, so I'm taking the, and I feel like I'm to the point where I could keep my sketches if I wanted to and not worry about what am I thinking, redoing it with line art. But I tend to like the cleaner edges of line art. I've been experimenting, but anyway, let's continue. This is literally just the good old black lines over the red. I like the red on a tannish background. It seems to get the more pop for me. It's kind of hard to see here, the lines being placed, but you'll see it once it finishes. I'll pull it out because I start coloring it, because I just drag and drop my colors. As you can see, I'm just boop. I'm using Procreate here. I'm just dragging and dropping the colors in, and then I begin to shade soon enough. I just take a light brush and you do ambient occlusion on the outside. So it's pretty much, you want to swipe. It's all the edges. So you want to give the shape, give it a more 3D feel. You're literally just shading on the outsides and on the insides to make, and then you highlight in the middle. It starts to give it a bit of a pop. Normally with a softer brush is what you'd want to shade with. And here's the big controversial thing for my art style. I haven't decided if I like it with or without line art more. Here I color in all the lines that I had already drawn to make them practically disappear, to give it a more realistic feel. And this is what I've been coming along. You're gonna see it. I go back and forward trying to decide, but here I'm doing the hard shadows with the cell shading. So I'm pretty much just shading in the deeper shadows. I mess around with highlights to see whether they'll come or not. I think I end up scrapping highlights altogether because I'm not a big fan. In the background shadow, a little light, and bada bing bada boom. Finished image. So I'm gonna let it run while and I'm just gonna go over it again. I think this took about 4 hours for me to do, so not drastically difficult. That's a pretty decent time frame. And the more I work on full body images and not just almost portrait, the faster this will come along. Working on the feet and the legs, I think I'm starting to get a hang of it. And my process is not the best, but I think it works for me. I really enjoyed this piece. I feel like I challenged myself, if anything, and I was pretty satisfied with it. And it's always interesting going back and watching your own process and trying to see where you can make improvements in the future. See where you picked up and see what you corrected, and try not to make the same mistakes again. Right here is when I start to realize that because I wasn't happy with it. So a lot of times when you're not happy with it, it's smart to move on and come back to it later. So like with the hand, I was not satisfied at all when I finished. So I just move ahead and start tackling something else, and you get back to it, and then it seems to always work out the way you want it to when you get it back around to it. But adding the shoulder blades, the slight muscles, because it's more of a, I have a slightly animated style. It's not all, you don't define all the muscles, but you want them to be there to some degree. Basic anatomy. I think that was the big thing when I realized I needed to move the legs, because this gap there's obviously not a gap in the image, and that's why it seems so off. When I finally move the two legs together, it seems to come a long way. Gives a lot more of the walking feel too, because the right leg, honestly, it should be a bit higher. But it's much better this way. We'll let it ride out. And feel free to ask any kinds of questions in the comments. I'm not used to showing my work like this, so if you have anything you want to know specifically, I can give you the rundown. I'm more than happy to help. And I just can't decide if I want to keep doing this style or more self-shaded. But I mean, it's fun. I'm liking what I'm creating. I just want to keep working on it, keep getting better, you know? I am pretty proud of the purse. It was quick and easy, but I liked it quite a bit. I might go back and do something with this background because I just have it drawn sitting there, but I couldn't get the perspective correct, so I pretty much threw it out, come back to it later. In the future, I'll work on a way to show the line art better. Honestly, what I can do is I can just pull up the image in just a second. Coloring is usually my favorite part. I feel like that's when the image really comes to life. And there's a reason why I can. Something I've been talking about with other artists lately is I feel like I lose a lot of the life in my image in between from the sketch to the line art. But the line art kills it a bit. So I think I just need to improve on my line art work. Could not figure out a good thing, something good to do for my highlights, so I just gave on it. Alright, let's see if I can't pull up the actual image right now. There we go. And this is Procreate. This is pretty you can see all my layers and all their glory. Let's see if I can get us a better look at the line art. That doesn't look creepy at all, don't worry about it. I'm just turning off all the colors on all their layers. Terrifying. Right, so I colored the layers. So let's make the background white. Right, so now you can see the line art. I wanted to at least show you all this, but as you can see, I went through and colored each line the color of a slightly darker color than the base color. This gives the feeling of no line art. Gives it a bit of a smoother, slicker feel. Also, I do a second layer over the line art and add a slight Gaussian blur. I think that's how you say Gaussian. It adds a little bit more pop to help with the lack of lines. Let's see. Get it all back. Perfecto. All right. That's the gist of my process on this specific piece. There'll be more to come. Make sure you follow the YouTube channel, Black Diamond Authority. And honestly, follow me on Instagram at TehTaka and on Twitch at TehTaka. I stream art there from time to time and try to get more consistent on both Twitch and Instagram. But yeah, leave comments if you have any questions. Thank you. Hope y'all have a good one.